This video is more about the GitHub for Mac app, the weirdness which relates to how it's using SSH keys on my computer. What I have done to try to get it to use the correct SSH keys is I moved the two SSH keys that I don't want it to use, the one called GitHub_RSA and its public version. I moved those out of the .ssh directory. I put them on my desktop. And then I went into the keychains access and I removed all the SSH keys that have any reference to those two keys. Then I went back and started the application, the GitHub for Mac application. And then it forced me to log back in. And then after I logged in, it did let me log in, but after I log in, I noticed that keychains reloaded the two keychain entries which I don't want to be there. I don't want those two keychain entries that have the old password for the old SSH keys. I don't know why those keep showing up, and they're the new SSH keys, which I know, those ones have a password also. Why does it keep loading those, the ones for the old SSH key, which I just even removed those from the .ssh directory? And then on top of that, it didn't even ask me for the password for the new SSH keys, and it didn't even make entries in keychains for them. It acts as if it's using the old SSH keys. But then when I talk to the people at GitHub, by email, they're implying that, okay, it is using the new SSH key, and they ask me, okay, what makes you think it's using the old ones? Well, I just said the things that make me think it's using the old ones, but it's hard to complain to them when it's working, okay? The GitHub app for Mac is working, okay? Now, how do I argue? How do I argue with people if the thing I'm complaining about works? It seems like it's working the wrong way. Anyways, at least I'm making this video so that I have everything on the table so I know what weirdness is going on, and I don't have to think I'm going crazy on some later date when I confront this or something related to it. I'm gonna operate under this working assumption. My assumption is that the GitHub app for Mac has stored my old RSA key in its own place. So it's not looking in my .ssh directory for any RSA key. The other thing is, I think GitHub, although their web interface is telling me that the only key they're honoring is my new one, I think their servers still recognize the old key. So, when I'm using the GitHub app for Mac on my current iMac, it is using the old key, and the server makes it think that it's doing the right thing. The only time this situation is going to change is if either the servers delete their recognition of the old SSH key, or I get a new iMac, or I use the GitHub app for Mac on a totally fresh install of an iMac, where that application has no recollection or knowledge of the old SSH key. But either way, I don't think it matters for me The only thing that scares me is that GitHub app for Mac might stop working and then it won't try to load a new key. But there's nothing I can do right now to make myself confident that this won't happen. I'll just have to wait until it happens, or if it happens. And then hopefully I'll go back to this video and the previous video and recognize what's been going on, so that if I go to support, I can give them some background information on what's been happening here.